Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy MKS here. As the title of this video suggests, I've been thinking about this P.O.C, which stands for People of Colour. Quite a bit of a controversial one. Dare I say, not people, if you like, whichever you tend to like, Black, Asian, mixed race, Native American, or whatever. And I often talk the four. What I call the four, which I talked about in my previous videos, I put in quotation marks, which I often refer to, which is, or which are, Indigenous people of, or I use many terms interchangeably, like First Nations or Indigenous people of Africa, Australasia, the Americas, and Asia, and places like that. But anyway, sorry. And also, when I talk about people of colour, obviously mixed race people as well, like myself. And I believe that we have an incentive to support South Africa, or really, I think we should support those the four, as I call them, generally, in my opinion, including through politically lobbying to pay our taxes to support the poor people in such communities, or to support, for instance, support Indigenous, or Native American people, or people like that. As well as Aborigines or Indigenous people of Australasia, or Oceania, whatever you call it. So I'd love to see us support them more as people of colour, helping each other's enterprises and things like that. Like, to me, on Facebook, and I was thinking of doing this on YouTube. I know a lot of people don't like my lists, but I don't want to be too boring, obviously. But and of course, these are my opinions. People are free to disagree, but I was thinking of lists of things I think people of colour, P.O.C, people of colour, in my opinion, shouldn't do. Like, I don't think we should join militaries, dare I say, or even pay our taxes towards certain things. Or I think we should boycott, like, the wars that go on, like the wars in Iraq or places like that, Syria, places like that. We should try and avoid those wars, avoid joining the military, avoid paying taxes towards the wars or things that contribute to wars, or weapons trade, the military-industrial complex, royal families and things. I think instead we should use that money to invest in supporting social entrepreneurs and startups and things like across Africa. And although I think we should support Asia and Africa, as I say, and Indigenous people, generally speaking, I say Indigenous people of the Americas and Australasia, Native Americans, in other words, and Aborigines, Maoris, and people like that. I also think one country we should support particularly is South Africa. And in my opinion, we should support South Africa. And so I'm just going to try and straighten my back, because sometimes I get bad back. So, I'm just trying to get more comfortable. But yeah, so I'd love to hear what other people of colour think about this. But I think that, and for once, I've actually got up early. Where's my mobile? It's 8:49, but I don't know. I think the clocks went back and I forgot to turn them back. So, and all the landlines are different, but on this laptop it seems to have automatically updated, or someone may have changed it. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, I'm a great believer that we should support South Africa. And the reason why I think we should support South Africa specifically as one particular country, as well as India and other places like that, because it's Black history as well. I'm thinking mainly of South Africa, and as well as Central Africa, which I think could be a hub for the whole of Africa. But when, as far as I'm aware, the apartheid regime and the South Africans, the white South Africans who are separatists, who want to keep apartheid, or would like to return back to apartheid, or want their own areas of Africa, South Africa, like Cape Town. I think they want Cape Town to belong to be for white people, and they've made their own areas like Orania or something like that, and they're of European descent. But I think they would probably do similar to what they did to South Africa, to the Black South Africa. I'm sure they'd do similar to the Asian or mixed race people around the world. So I think the a lot of the far right who hate South Africans also hate mixed race people. And yeah, generally, I think it's white Anglo-Saxon Protestants who want to rule South Africa, and they call people of colour lazy or stupid or whatever other things they would probably say, especially about black people, but probably even other groups of people. And that's the reason why I think that people of colour, one of the main reasons anyway, I think there's many, but I often try and think of lists of 30 reasons, but I suppose that's probably the only, I don't know if there are other reasons, but yeah, I think people of colour, as I say, to me, I think we should definitely try and support South Africa. We should try and lobby for taxes to go to South Africa, investment in South Africa, supporting small businesses, supporting other people of colour in South Africa, and also people who want to integrate, because I think a lot of, I'm sure that many modern white South Africans want to integrate with the rest of, with the people of colour as well. So I think any groups that are about diversity and inclusion, but also supporting people who have been oppressed, like the black community, mixed race community, what they call coloured in South Africa. I think mixed race people around the world, in my opinion, I definitely would try and encourage them. Obviously, well, I do believe in, obviously, well, I say obviously, but I believe, I mean, if you looked at my other videos, I say, it's about freedom. I'm a libertarian. I'd love to see libertarianism in South Africa, not socialism or communism. But I think that libertarianism's got to come up from well, I mean, I think if you look at apartheid or colonialism, they are actually they are much more. I don't think they're very libertarian policies, because you're telling people where they can and can't go, even in their own, where they originate from, like South Africa. That's where black people originate from, so, or I suppose. So to me, libertarianism is about saying that people are free to do what they want, providing, having, like, I like to have as few laws as possible. And a lot of people say it's socialism or communism to want to support Africa or want to support, especially South Africa, a place like that. And the economic freedom fighters in South Africa are, as they put it, unashamedly socialist. But I'd love to see libertarianism, but I think libertarianism probably has to be done in a certain way for it to be fair. And depending on what you mean by fair, I don't mean that the rich people should give money to the poor by force, or that people who worked hard or are intelligent should give money to other people. I think it should be more free. I might share some links to libertarianism in some of my videos, possibly this one when I get a chance or whatever, but if and when I remember. But yeah, I think, the people who hate the black South Africans, I'm sure, would hate other people of colour. So I think we have an incentive to support South Africa. And I hope that people of colour all around the world, especially mutts, mixed race people like myself, and Asians as well, even Native Americans or Aborigines or people like that, I hope will support South Africa. I also believe people of colour, as I say, should support those 4 regions I talked about, including Aborigines, Maoris, and people like that. So I'm a real big believer in obviously in what I'm talking about, but obviously I think people should have a choice. I'm not saying that because I believe it should happen, but I think I'd be really happy to see people of colour supporting South Africa, especially, as I say, in these 4 regions generally, and possibly all 4 of those regions working together. Indigenous people to give each other rights to work together on international politics, like at the UN or place like that. And I hope the guy up there, God, agrees with me on this one. I think if God gives some people land, I don't see how God would say, I've given this land to a certain group of people, but now I'm going to allow another land to come and take away. Because to me, colonialism is actually much more in common with communism than people think. Because a lot of people would say a lot of people say colonialism is more capitalistic and it's not the same as communism, but other people say communism is like a form of capitalism itself. But also you're telling people what to do. Like if you colonize a country, you tell them what to do, where they can go, and many of their laws, taxes were imposed on colonial subjects, especially by Britain. I don't know if other countries did the same, but like India had to pay salt tax on salt. America had to pay a tax on tea. That's why the Tea Party was formed and things like that. So there were lots of taxes, I'm sure, that were imposed, as well as restrictions. So to me, libertarianism is not the same as colonialism, which to me has much more in common with communism than people think, because it's like it's telling people how to live your life, it's telling people what they can do, and that's my opinion. What I want to share, and as I say, why I believe people of colour should support South Africa. As I say, I think we should lobby, try and work together to make sure our taxes go to help South African local small businesses, to cut crime in South Africa, to show that people of colour can run countries and can do well, and we are capable of doing well. And for the white supremacists or far right who say we can't do well, I think we should try and prove them wrong. So I hope God agrees with me. I definitely hope God agrees with me, and I hope other people agree with me. I was saying, I nearly forgot to say, but when you look at, I was talking to someone before on Facebook, and I said, to me, colonialism is stealing, and they said, colonialism is not stealing. I don't know what you've been told, but I don't see how you can colonize a country without. I think colonialism always ended up with murder, stealing, even if it didn't begin with like that. It probably began with those sorts of things, but I suppose as an anti-imperialist, but to me, colonialism is very similar to communism and involves stealing, killing, trespass, murder, and things like that. I deliberately put it in the opposite order to my initials because, like, I have these weird patterns, but like it's the opposite to what I stand for. So I don't believe we should join. I don't believe people of colour should join the military. And even further than that, I wish we wouldn't pay our taxes towards the military. And as I say, I hope God agrees with me. And I don't know what other people think, like other people of colour or people generally. But I'd love to hear your opinions for or against what I'm saying. Especially like if you're a person of colour, would you think actually, maybe this mad nut here has a point, and maybe I will start supporting South Africa more. Maybe I will look at how I can support the brands and the businesses and the industries in South Africa as a person of colour, against hate and white supremacy and things like that, and to show people of colour can be united and we can support each other. And even if even people out there, I'd love to hear everyone's opinions really, for or against my idea, whatever background you are, but especially as people of colour, or like even if you think what I say is wrong or too controversial, or I'd say if you disagree, that's fine. I'd love to hear your opinions. I hope people will be polite, but obviously if you're on YouTube, people can say what they want. But yeah, to me, colonialism has much more in common with communism than people think, and I think vice versa, because one is supposed to be a left-wing ideology and one is supposed to be right-wing, but I think they're so similar. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up because I think that's all I can say. What do you think about colonialism? Do you think it is stealing, killing, trespassing, murdering, or do you think I've got the wrong end of the stick? Or how can you colonize a country and not do those things? I suppose is a big question I'd ask. And if you're a pro-imperialist, then that's fine. Like I try and accept your opinion, even I try and accept all opinions, whether I agree with them or not. But yeah, so I really hope that people of colour will, especially mixed races, people like me, will support South Africa. Peace and love, guys. Wish you well.